Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I, Dr. Neha Mehla, welcome you all in the third session of the Faculty Development Program on Enhancing Research Paper Writing and Publication Skills. Our today's session will be on Writing, Literature Review, and Results Discussion by Professor Pooja. Dr. Pooja is an accomplished individual with almost 2 decades of experience in imparting education and making significant contributions in the field of computer science and engineering. With a strong background in education, she has dedicated her career to sharing knowledge and inspiring others through her expertise. She has delivered numerous hands on training sessions to students, learners, industry personals on artificial intelligence and machine learning using Python. Furthermore, she has worked with NITTR Chandigarh towards co-creation and delivery of courses for National Online Education Portal SWAM portal NPTEL on smart grid analytics implementing machine learning module. Throughout her professional journey, she has published over 90 publications which include national and international journal conference papers, book chapters including IEEE, Springer conferences and Scopus indexed journals. The extensive body of work reflects their commitment to advancing knowledge and making valuable contributions to the field of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning. Her expertise and insights have likely been sought after by peers, students, and fellow researchers alike. Now, on behalf of Purnima College of Engineering, Jaipur, I welcome Dr. Pooja for today's session. Please, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Neha. Thank you so very much for elaborative introduction.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right, can we start now, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll share my screen. Give me a second. First of all, thank you so very much for having your confidence in me that I can take up on this topic, enhancing research paper writing in this FTP, enhancing research paper writing and publication. Um, and thank you so much for Purnima College of Engineering, Research and Development Cell, PC, Jaipur, India, and Math Tech Thinking Foundation. I can only I can speak about MTTF instead of, fully saying Math Tech Thinking Foundation. First, thank you so very much for connecting and giving this opportunity. So today's topic is yeah, writing literature review and result discussions. Before we start, I would like to ask participants what are their views. I mean, they have been in. This is third day of FTP, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So what they have understood about research. I'm sure most of us who are participating in this FTP, they are into their research. They are mostly scholars, right? So if anybody can answer or just give me some idea, what exactly do you think research is? It will give us a good start for today's session. Anybody? Oh, I can see Pooja also. Another Pooja is there. Pooja, any idea? Anybody? Dr. Ismail. Okay. There is another Pooja. All right. Anyone from the participants? We have all doctors here. Dr. Neha, I think we have not given rights to the participants to speak. Is that so?
I think they can speak or otherwise they can raise their hand. I will
Ah, all
I
right.
will unmute them.
All right.
Or they can write in chat box also.
Oh, all right. Nevertheless, I can see most of us are doctorates and we know what research is. For me, research is not just about academic research. For me, research is anything we do. We try to find something for doing something, and then we try to understand a concept through some research after finding something related to that topic, and then we conclude something as per our understanding and our experiments. That becomes research, right? Now the important part about this research is you have to document it somewhere. That is where academic writing, literature review, research, result discussions come into picture. So even if you are, for example, if I have to cook something, I am looking for cooking something new, maybe broccoli, and I don't know what to do, I will search for that, on internet is very accessible today, in this era, right? So we will look for some of the references. We'll see through, we'll read through the recipes, right? And maybe go through YouTube channels, maybe go through some cookbook, and then try those things and experiment, and then come up with some, good recipe prepared, and then we see the results by testing. You get it tested by few of your family members or friends, and then they give you reviews, and then you change your input some the other time. This whole is a closed process, right? So same thing happens in academic research as well. So today we'll discuss about what academic writing is, what are its fundamentals, how we should craft titles and abstracts, how to write effectively the abstracts and titles, how you can make your literature review more effective, how you can prevent plagiarism, citing sources, and some other things related to and conclusions, drawing conclusions from your results and your findings. So this is all we'll try to cover in this today's session. So anytime you can ask question, otherwise I'll keep speaking. I will also keep try to be more interactive with all the audience, right? So we'll start with what academic writing is. There are two words here: academic writing, writing which is related to academics, right? So academic writing is basically a style of writing, right? It is a formal style of writing used to communicate some knowledge or ideas within some academic setting. This is important, right? So within some academic setting, you are, for example, I am from computer science, you might be from physics background. So for you, the academic settings will be related to physics domain, um, uh, all basics, or different fields in related to physics, right? So what do you write in that particular domain formally, just to communicate your knowledge, or the knowledge you have attained, or knowledge which is already there existing, and you're trying to summarize that as a literature review paper, or you are experimenting on some existing thing, and you come up with some new ideas and results, that you are putting into a document, that becomes an academic writing, right? So it is a scholarly communication. This is very important. So what academic writing does is it serves as a foundation for scholarly communication. It allows you as a researcher or students to present their findings, to engage in debates or advance knowledge in various disciplines, right? This is what academic writing is. And it is not just confined to a particular domain, right? It can encompass various variety of areas. It can include, an academic writing can include a research paper, an essay, these days maybe a research blog, some report, dissertation, thesis, an article. It can be any type of this writing, not just thesis or dissertation or research paper, right? So what you do, you categorize your findings with a formal tone and a structure, and you use evidence to prove what you have found. That becomes an academic writing, right? Any questions you have, you can just ask. Otherwise, I'll keep going to the next slides. So since our topic is related to research and citation also, so I have put an effort to cite few of the things, but I've done it very hurriedly. This is not a right way of maybe citing. There can be more effective way. We'll talk about that. So let me okay. So academic writing can be considered from two different ways. One from students' perspective, there can be student academic writing. One from expert perspective, which can be termed as expert academic writing. So, in student academic writing, is what it is an assessment at a university, school, or college where you give where usually we give students something to write, right? Search for maybe role of generative AI in education and come up with an assignment 250 words or something. So it is related to assessment. You try to assess the knowledge of the student. May I ask how citations and Sonia Malik will talk about that at the end, right? All right. So in student academic writing, usually the audience are tutors, professors, or a group of students, your peers, right? And what you try to demonstrate is your understanding, what you have learned. In expert academic writing, you write for publication in some journal, or you write a book, or you write articles based upon your expertise in a field, right? And the audience would be other expertise or learners or scholars in that particular area, in that particular domain. And the purpose is to create new knowledge basically. So for example, okay, so this is an academic writing would be like this. You try to write for publication, you create some new knowledge, and audience would be other experts or scholars in that particular field you are writing. You can check on this particular video is very informative. You can check it later on. So academic writing can be of four different types: descriptive, analytical, persuasive, or critical. We'll see what these are one by one. So descriptive writing is a writing where you try to describe, you present all the related information you have gathered about a topic, person, place, event. It is more like a explanation, right? You describe, you put everything more elaboratively, right? And the focus would be just about the details of that particular topic, right? Not the analysis. You are not analyzing anything, but you are just gathering all the information, right? And you are presenting it. Examples: laboratory reports, research summaries, notes, something like that, right? So what are the key features of descriptive writing? Key features are it has to be clear and concise in language. In presenting, you should use accurate terminologies if there are in that particular field. You focus on sensory details when describing, like object or places or the topic. You put every details in that. This is what is descriptive writing. Next is analytical writing. In analytical writing, you examine, you analyze, you try to um, extract analytics out of that. So it is in-depth analysis, right? You break down the topic into sub parts, sub components, and then you try to examine it to try to find the analysis. You try to find cost-effective measures or some other analysis, right? So you try to analyze something, that becomes your analytical writing. Examples: literature review, research paper with data analysis. You write an essay that compares and contrasts different perspectives of something, right? So when you are analyzing something, you need to provide an evidence or proof on the basis of what you are doing that, right? So in this type of writing, the evidence, the citation, the reasoning becomes important. You should include all these things into your writing. This becomes analytical writing. Next is persuasive writing. So in persuasive writing, you try to persuade the readers. You try to convince them about a particular viewpoint or course of action. You present arguments, you give evidence, you give all evidence and arguments or some experiments to support your statement or hypothesis, right? Examples would be argumentative essays, research papers with recommendations for future studies, or policy proposals. So what are the key features of this? You should have a strong research statement or thesis statement. You should have a logical flow of the arguments, and you use evidences to prove that what you are trying to convince the reader upon. This is what is persuasive writing. Next is critical writing. So critical writing tries to evaluate something, some argument, some statement critically. So when we are saying critically, your focus becomes on the identifying the strengths and weaknesses of your statement, maybe the thesis statement or the topic statement upon which you are writing something, and then you analyze different perspectives of that topic, that statement, right? And then based upon all findings, your findings of strengths and weaknesses and analyzing, you give your independent judgment into that after doing all this analysis, finding my findings, this is what my judgment is, this is what my results are, right? So this is what is critical writing is, right? So what is important here is you try to identify the biases. You don't, you yourself don't give a biased judgment, right? You have to be very balanced when you are performing this type of analysis on that particular topic, right? What are the strengths and right? So this is these are what the broader types of academic writings. And usually when you write something, some research paper or article or uh, literature review or anything related to research or beyond research also, you may not stick to one type of writing style. You can combine like descriptive and analytical, you can combine analytical and persuasive, you can combine critical and descriptive. So it can be combination of the writings, but you should, and it everything depends upon what is your research statement. It depends upon that, how you are forming that and what you are going to do ahead of that research. Essays can be analytical, essays can be descriptive, essays can be persuasive. It depends. So again, it depends upon the title. So we'll talk about titles in some of the slides. So you so it is not just about so if you will see here, see in critical writing also we have mentioned essays that analyze historical events from multiple viewpoints. If you're writing some essay like that, it becomes a critical writing, right? But if so, somebody has said what is analytical essay can be analytical writing also when you are comparing something, right? Two different perspectives, right? For instance, some people think that generative AI is good for education, while others think it is destroying the ethics of learning, right? So when you are doing this kind of essay, it can be analytical, it can be descriptive. You can compare or can describe. So analytical writing, somebody asked what exactly is. So analytical writing is when you try to analyze things. You do in-depth analysis. That in-depth analysis can be done through various methodologies, right? And then you present your findings. You have some data maybe, and then you are doing some analysis on that, and then you are finding what exactly it is. That becomes your analytical writing, right? And for every different type of academic writing, the structure, if you're writing a research paper or review, might vary. So what are the core fundamentals of academic writing? First thing, you have to be very clear in communicating what exactly you are aiming to write. So your your titles, your statements should be very clear, concise, and easy to understand. This is one thing which is very important, right? Second is objective. So your research or your writing should have some objectives which you need to attain, right? So it should not be a biased personal writing. It should have proper facts and evidences taken care, and then you present your findings, right? Neutrally, without any bias. Another important thing about academic writing is the structure and organization. Usually we follow in academic writings, we follow a formal structure, right? For example, there should be an introduction. If we are writing a thesis, let's suppose, there should be an introduction, a literature review, methodology, result, discussions, findings, conclusions, what were the limitations. So there has to be a formal structure, right? And you come up with this formal structure based upon your area and after discussion with your mentors or supervisors. And based upon this structure, your flow of research comes into picture. So you start from the scratch raw data, and then as you go into the formal structure, you refine your research and you end up into findings and presenting your results and maybe future directions for your research, right? Another thing is you have to cite your whatever you are doing. If you are if you are using, some content which you cannot claim is your own content, you have to cite it. So that citation and referencing is very important. There are different referencing styles. Again, if you are writing a research paper for a particular journal, journals have some guidelines on what type of referencing styles should be used, or same what type of what should be the structure of your paper. So you have to follow that, right? Again, in as we have said, there are different types of academic writings. So one of the important things which you have to keep in mind and put it into writing is that you have to include the evidences, right? Whatever you are doing, it may be a data, it may be statistics, it may be codes, which will support or strengthen your claims, what you are writing. So those evidences should be included. Your tone of writing should be very formal. You should not use informal language into that. And the vocabulary used for any academic writing should be grammatically correct, not complex, and accurate based upon your domain or discipline, right? So this is one thing. Another important thing is your work should be an original work. With the chat GPT is coming, there is a lot of threat on originality. So how you can take care of that? By citing the things properly. Even if you have presented something somewhere, or you have published something somewhere, you have to cite your own articles or research publications when you are reusing them into your another academic writing. This is very important. We'll talk about all these one by one again. So next is I hope this much is fine, right? About fundamentals and introduction about what academic writing is. Now we'll move ahead into the different components of an academic writing. So first thing would be the title and the abstract. So how to have a good title for your topic. So your title should be very clearly conveying the message, what is there ahead in the research article what you are writing. So it should convey that main topic or question of your work accurately. It should not be vague, one thing. Second thing, your title should not include abbreviations. Avoid that, right? So, and you should include keywords related to your area, right? We'll see some of the examples of good titles and bad titles also. And it is very important to not to have a very lengthy title. So your title should be between 10 to 15 words, and it should be clearly specifying what is there in the writing ahead, right? And it is optional, but it is preferable to use active voice. So see, optimizing dash applications and optimization of dash applications. So it matters, right? All right. A good research title should have three components. One, title should tell what is the purpose of that article, research, or essay. What is the tone of your paper taking? Will it be comparative, descriptive, or what it is, or analytical, right? And what research methods were used, or what experimentation or methods are being used. So your research title should have all these three components. There is a very good article on creating effective titles for research for scientific publications. I have put up a link also, and it shows what should be a good title and what can be a poor title. So first thing is the length of the title, very important. It should have 10 to 15 words. Give me a second. Really sorry for that. So your title should not be longer than 15 words. Avoid that. Punctuations. A good title should have proper commas, colons, semicolons, and it should avoid question marks or exclamatory points. Use keywords. Abbreviations are not to be used, and it should clearly state the point of article. And of course, wherever you are going to publish your academic writing, your title should follow that guidelines as well, right? This is very important. This is one example. See, this is a very vague title, a study on customer behavior. Can you understand what will be that, right? What is ahead in this article? No, we cannot, right? So what could be a improved version of this title? Can anybody suggest? Anybody? Any participant? There can be many versions. So I have, we understand that research articles should generally be 13 to 15 words, right? It is not 13, it is only 5 to 6 words, right? So we can modify it, into a better title. For example, understanding online shopping preferences across generational analysis. This can be one way of modifying it based upon what you are doing. Or another can be understanding customer behavior for, let's suppose your data, you are doing this research for only electronic devices, their buying patterns. So for electronic devices, understanding the shopping patterns in the domain of electronic items. So your title should tell what a reader should expect in the reading ahead, right? There is this research paper. You must read this. I've kept it in the citations also. They have the title of this research article is titles in research, right? And they have gathered a data set of 5,070 papers from different reputed journals, and they have surveyed and analyzed them, and they have come up with that. The authors have come up with the two different types of titles: indicative, interrogative. Indicative titles can be single or compound. Interrogative titles can be single and compound. And titles, if it is a compound title, it should be descriptive or detailed. So must read this article, right? Next is, this is about titles. Next is abstracts. Now, what are abstracts? Now, abstracts give a short summary on the work you are going to present in that particular academic writing. So it should include short sentences, maybe based on your research question, methodology, your findings, and significance. So we try to structure the abstract also using IMRAD. Right? So introduction, method, result, and conclusion should be mentioned in the abstract, right? So you highlight the important contributions of your work in your abstract, right? And you customize your language of abstract based upon the audience, right? And usually when you go for publications, there is a limit of words to be used in abstract, right? So stick to that word limit. Okay, this is an example of how abstract sentences can be written. So this is one very generic example. This paper explores the topic of data analysis. No, instead of that, let's use it like this. This study investigates the effectiveness of something in predicting something in this particular area, in this particular industry. And then our findings demonstrate that something has this, right? So something like that. You have to be more clear in your abstract writing. And it should include, as I have said earlier, introduction, then methods used, then results, and then discussions. right? We should use action verbs as we have done it here. So the example, generic example is the paper explores something. No, we will use action words. The study is investigating, right? Something. So use action words to convey what your work is on and what your work has accomplished. For example, analyzes, investigates, evaluates. You should also mention your key findings or results. For example, we have implemented XYZ method on the data and it has increased the efficiency to 20%. So results showcase that it has increased or it has decreased or whatever are your findings. You should briefly mention that finding also in the abstract if there is a finding. And once it is written, do not forget to proofread it. You should proofread it, read it twice, thrice, ensure the clarity. There should not be grammatical mistakes, and your title and abstract should be matching to each other, right? It should come in flow. All right. Uh, Somebody said something that can you explain compound and single title? Yes, we can do that. We'll go to this article right now. Okay, let's go to this. I hope this is visible to you. I have shared the whole screen. So see this paper, titles in research articles. Very good article. You must read. Now see here itself, if you see the reading abstract, they have mentioned what it is, how much data they have used, right? And what their finding is. We show major disciplinary differences which can be traced to different characteristics of the field, right? So what your paper is, and see the use of language. In this paper we explore the key features of these many titles, right? So we should have our abstract written very clearly. It should tell what it is there. And see, the title is not 13 words, but the title is telling us what we should expect in this, right? It could be a better title also. Okay, so the question was, what is this? Is what they have categorized, and let's see what is single and compound, right? So see, soft sensors that can no, this is not, wait, formats for single and see this is a compound title. Recipes for respect, African American meals and meanings. This is a compound title. The title of this paper, titles in research writing, is a single title, right? When you include different subparts like you're using colon or subtitle, then it becomes a compound title. I hope I have answered that, right? For example, this breaking barriers, Quebec, platelet disorder, right? All these are titles fetched from different articles. Knowledge construction in academia, colon, a challenge for multilingual scholars, right? So this is what single and compound means. I hope I have answered that, uh, Pranita, right? All right. So moving ahead, abstract is done. Okay. All right, this is done. I'll open this handbook also. So this is again a very good academic writing. This is also an academic writing, right? Where the author has tried to define the purpose, define the definition and purpose of the article, abstract. What should be the content of the article, abstract, and which verb is to be used. I wanted you to see this. These are some of the examples of abstract. Now see, this is one abstract. I hope this is visible. And if you will see, this has 4 different things. First thing, it introduces the topic under the question, right? What your research is going to be, right? What is the study about? The growing economic resemblance of spouses have contributed to rising inequality, something like that, right? The next is telling what has been done in the previous research, right? So they are providing the rationale why this research, their own work is important, why it has to be done, why this study is required. And then they are talking about the data and the analytical methods which they are going to use in this. We use data from this and to decompose this into parts. This is this part into parts due to changes in assortative mating and changes in the division of paired labels. So they are mentioning what analytical method is to be used in their study, and at the end part of this abstract they are talking about their major findings. Contrary to what has often been assumed, the rise has changed to this. Our findings indicate this. So this is a complete abstract, right? This is an example of a very good abstract. There are other abstracts also which are mentioned. So you can just see through, read this article as well, right? All right. So this is all about abstracts and titles. Now we'll move ahead to literature review techniques. Okay. So what is a literature review? Can anybody tell me? Participants, what is a literature review? No? Yes?
Yeah, literature review is finding out what have been done about what you are trying to do already somewhere else.
Yeah. What are the historical recordings about your area, what you are going to study? Yes? Am I right? Previous literature related to our topic. Yes, Savita. Yes. Reviewing the past studies and findings. Yes. This is very correct. Literature review means you are reviewing the existing academic writings, not just research papers, on the study you are going to do. But what we are missing is it should be connected with your study. So when we write literature review, usually scholars, I have supervised more than 20 masters and four PhD scholars, not a big experience, but out of whatever experience I have as a supervisor, I would like to mention here that usually scholars fail in not doing the literature review, in presenting the literature review effectively. They have done it, they have read the papers and critically give your comments. Yes, that is very important, Sonia. Thank you so much for that. So we'll see what how you should present or do your literature review effectively, right? So first is, literature review does what? It enhances your awareness of the area or topic you are trying to study. It clarifies the reasoning behind your study. It should tell, your literature review should end up into your problem statement. What problem or you are trying to solve in your research, or what is your hypothesis, right? Yes, Dr. Ismail, it is a review of record of past efforts on the research topics. Yes. So literature review should enhance your awareness, your understanding about the area. Number one. Number two, it defines your work in a broader perspective. What was all? It is the bigger domain. Then you narrow down your literature review until you come up to your point of study, right? So usually when we do some research or when we write an article, we narrow down our research, right? So your literature review should reflect that you are coming from a broader perspective and then narrowing down to your research problem, right? Next is, it assesses the findings of the earlier research, right? It defines the important terms and concepts also to you, right? So when you do literature review, you understand some of the topics, some of the research done, some of the concepts, some of the new terms in that particular area. It identifies significant methodological challenges and research in related field that may be applied or transformed to your topic also. So it might not have, you may not write a research paper, or you might not experiment with algorithms or methods of experimentation which are defined in textbooks. when you go for literature review, you understand that, okay, what we have studied as a concepts in the textbooks, now in research, those concepts have been uh, enhanced. Maybe there are more hybrid methods. Maybe the algorithms have improved in some research articles, in some of the works, and then you can apply those, right? Or if your research is a topic is from different domains also, you can have methods of experimentations, and you can implement it into your different domain as well, right? A literature review is not a bibliography with annotation. So usually when we say to our scholars, write literature review, come up with a literature review, you have read papers, what they do is they start citing and then they just give us a bibliographic annotations. No, it is not that. You have to give your comments as well. You have to connect the literature review with your context as well, right? So an effective literature review should provide a background information and context for the research problem or questions being addressed. That is very important. So scholars forget about the context. They will just keep summarizing what they have studied, what they have gained in different research papers or articles or academic writings, right? Second important thing, your literature review should identify the gaps. You should be able to examine wide range of sources, identify the gaps, what has not been done, what are the inconsistencies, what are the contradictions, and then highlight the emerging trends, theories, methodologies related to your topic and how you are coming up with what you are going to do. Nowadays, uh, without doing literature review, mostly scholars will come, okay, I am going to do this. I will implement XYZ method. And when you ask question, why do you want to use this particular method only? Why have you explored other, have you experimented on other possible methods also? So usually answer is a blank, nothing. So we fail to understand why literature review is important. So nowadays a trend of research, maybe because of the availability of resources online, maybe availability of generative AI, things have changed, but we should stick to the basic process of literature review. So when we are talking about literature review, we should understand it is not just a process, it is a product as well. You have to come up with the product at the end of your literature review. That product is what? Your well structured literature review connected to your study, how you have come up with your gaps and what you are trying to do in your research, right? So that is important. Another important thing is literature review should involve evaluating the quality, credibility, and relevance of individual sources, what you are studying as well. You should critically analyze the strengths and limitations of existing studies. Try experimenting. If in paper X, author X has done something, try to do that. Try to do that experiment with your data, with your research questions. Then assess the methodologies and findings and their implications of the research you have done, right? That is very important. Don't just come up with the title, oh, I am going to do XYZ on X data and I'll be using this technique. How you have decided that? That is very strange. As a scholar, when you go to your supervisor, do some experiments, do some literature review, and then do those experiments, apply those methods on your research questions, then come up with the idea what you're going to do. Okay. Another important thing, literature review should synthesize the findings of multiple studies. So usually we prefer, I particularly, I don't know, mostly scholar supervisors might finding helpful, or they might also be doing that. So we prefer, after all the literature review, it should be presented not just in sentences, it should also be presented in a tabular form, right? Related to your domain. What is the name of the author? What is the paper? What methodology is used? What are the findings? And then your comments, how it is going to affect your, whether you can use it within your study or not. Right? So that is very important. So when you start reading papers, keep a repository in your machine, right, or in a hard disk or somewhere. Keep a repository, keep track of your literature review, what you are doing, so that it is easy to at the end compile everything, right? So it basically identifies the patterns, themes, and theoretical frameworks of various sources. Literature review should also use insights from existing literature and formulate research questions, hypothesis. I think we need to mute some of the people. Yeah. All right. I have, yes, muted all. You can unmute yourself when you have some question or you want to discuss something. So, with literature review, you will come to know about the existing literature, questions, hypotheses, and you should ensure that your work is built upon and it contributes to the existing knowledge base. It should not come up from somewhere. It should be connected. Your work should be connected. So another important thing is there should be supportive arguments, assertions with evidence from the existing research. You should capture those things into your academic writing. Provide citations, provide references, demonstrate that the work you have studied and what you are going to implement, they are related. Okay. And of course, your literature review should conclude with the suggestion of future research directions. It should tell the gap. It should end up into your proposed research hypothesis, questions, or your work. So there are effective literature reviews and there are less effective literature reviews. So what is a less effective literature review? Will only summarize the findings without offering a critical analysis about the work previously done. It will examine specific books, articles, and there will be no comparison, contrast driven out of that study, right? But an effective literature review will avoid descriptions. It will give background information, explain the significance of the existing literature, and then it will give you the relation of the background and how it is related to your study and what are the strengths and flaws of the existing work in your area of research or academic writing, right? Good literature review should find themes in the body of the literature that might guide the future study and applications based upon which you will present your topic. Okay, this is a very good example by Tom Reeves, University of Georgia. I will take you here to this paper. You'll find it very effective. It has given a lot of points about a good literature review and a bad literature review. So you can see a good literature review is organized around the coherent set of questions which you are going to do, right? It should include major landmarks and classic studies related to the questions you are trying to find answers in your research. It should acknowledge author's bias, what author has done. You should not manipulate it, right? You should put it the way it has, the authors have mentioned. It should also mention about the limitations of the already existing work. Okay. It should critically evaluate the quality. A good literature review should use quotes, graphs, tables to present and justify the critical analysis done. There should be logical argument formed that should conclude into a clear rationale of additional research is required, right? So there should be arguments why the study you are going to do is required. and that will come from the literature review only. Okay, I'll not read all. See, this is very important. A good literature review presents research evidence in a meaningful chronological order. It should not just start from, okay, this year this happened, 10 years ago it happened, then in between some year this has happened. No, it should be a chronological order. This is very important. Okay, all right, I will move ahead. So read all this, it will be very helpful to all of you. Okay, this is some of the comparisons I have done for out of the article we have just read about good literature review and bad literature review. Okay, I'm skipping this part now. The next important thing is how to prevent plagiarism and accurately cite sources. So how we can do that? Okay, before going towards these, I would like to ask participants, what do you understand about plagiarism? Anybody? We have a lot of anyone? Maybe you can type in chat. No? Yeah, there is one hand. Yes, please. Copied content from previous research. Yes. Anyone else? Presenting others' work as your own. Yes, correct. Yes, it is correct. Not just presenting others' works. When you quote your own work also, then also you need to cite it. Otherwise, it will be considered as plagiarized. Lifting someone's idea, a lot of things. Lifting someone's idea and writings as your own. Yes, it is the art of writing or including others' work without properly acknowledging. Yes, when we do not acknowledge or refer the work, who has done what, and use it, then it is supposed to be a plagiarized work. Failure to cite strong words, yes, or it can be any malpractice others' work without citing them. Yes, so it is not just about using others' work without acknowledging. It is also using your own work without acknowledging. Plagiarism is direct use of someone else's work. Lot of without due acknowledgement of the source. Yes, but it is also paraphrasing of somebody's work without citing it. We'll see what it is. So how we can prevent plagiarism. To prevent plagiarism, we should first understand what it is. So it is not just copying, direct copying without attribution. It is also paraphrasing without proper citation or self-plagiarized work. Everything comes under plagiarism. So once we know this, we can prevent plagiarism. How? Number one, you can quote the text when you are using directly from the source. Use quotation marks. Then provide a citation indicating the source, right? For both long, short quotes, same. Then, if you are rephrasing the original text in your own words, still you need to provide the original source, right? This is one thing. You need to cite to acknowledge the source. Then, even if you're using ideas, concepts, or arguments from the source, you're not directly quoting, you need to cite it well. Your own references should be tracked. So keep a track of all your resources from beginning of your research process. Use citation management tools to cite. And again, wherever you're going to publish your work, there are some set formats. You can use those formats for citation. Somebody is saying something. Inability to give credit to the work done by someone else. Yes, it is this. This is what plagiarism is. Is somebody saying something? Any question? Okay, going ahead. Next important thing is you have to check and review before sending your work for publication and ensure that you have properly cited all sources, right? Use plagiarism detection softwares, if applicable, to check whether there is some plagiarism or not, right? And next is citing sources. There are some guidelines I said earlier, like APA, MLA, Chicago. So the different journals have different ways of styling citations. So you need to use that properly. Second important thing, do not skip that, okay, I will not include books into citations. No, if you have used material from books, articles, websites, interviews, you have to cite every other thing. And when we are talking about proper citation style, they have a way of citing everything. I will show you that also. Be consistent. It should not be like that half of your work is cited in MLA style, another half is cited in some other way. There should be consistency in citing your work. And provide all necessary details like name of the author, date of publication, title, number of pages used, if there is a
Sorry, sir.
URL,
Yeah,
the
please.
DOI numbers, the issue.
Okay. Okay.
uh,
Tell me. Yeah.
so the issue number and the volume number, everything should be mentioned properly. You can use in-text citations like quotes, paraphrase, reference information. You should also create list of bibliography or reference list at the end of your work, right? And verify citations before including. Double check the work is of the right author or not, right? Verify that properly. That is very important. Okay, I said I will be showing you some of the citations. We'll go to Springer's website, Springer citation style. This is how, if you will see here, different types of references and how those to be presented. So do not skip, okay, this is a book chapter or a whole book or edited book. So how I'm going to cite it, you don't know. There, everything is mentioned in different journals. It is usually mentioned, right? Uh, how to write proceed and see, everything is written. If it is a proceeding as a book, name of the author, the year, the title, proceedings of which conference, which volume, the journal name, and the page number. Right? How to cite dissertations, online databases, how to cite. So you have to include the URL also, and this is important, on which date you have access that particular web page or URL. That is very important, because usually online documents or databases or resources, they change, they get updated. So you have to mention when you have accessed that particular resource. Okay, this was this. Going back to our, so next important thing is, I think, yeah, how to present your research findings. So usually when we say we are going to present our research, before this I forgot to mention one thing. IEEE, there are some online tools. See this, I wanted you to see this. This is publication latex. If you will go to some reputed journals, you will find such tools in handy with you. This is LaTeX analyzer. See, reference preparation assistance is there. You can improve your references based upon some particular format, right? So you can upload, and then it will give you what exactly, how it has to be presented. And usually in nowadays, the articles, I think it was, okay, I will find that and then I will show you. There are online portals available by these, yeah, author center. So usually you'll find author center, how to publish, right? So you will find all the related information, how to do what in author pages, right? This is important. There was, I'm still not able to find that. I will show you. Okay, let's go to some research article. So when you will find some research articles, usually you will see how to cite that particular article, and you can copy paste it. You can also download in some pages there. You can pick the citation format also. So let's suppose Chicago, see the writing style has changed. Now you can copy and paste it, right? So you don't have to worry whether you have chosen the, you have written the citation correctly or not. So usually, so let's suppose if I'm using this particular article in my work, I will pick this citation and I'm publishing it with IEEE. So it will give me the citation in IEEE format itself. So make use of such things in your academic writings to avoid citation. So moving ahead, I think there are no more questions. If there is any question related to titles and abstracts and article citation plagiarism, do ask. Otherwise, we'll move ahead. May I leave the session with your kind permission? I need to get back home driving. You can ask the coordinator. I have no issues. You can leave. Debus, please. Banerjee. All right. So when we try to present research findings, usually there are three ways to present it. You could have you might be asked to give an oral presentation, poster presentation, or write a paper, or there may be other. For example, you have to write an article in or research paper, journal article, book chapter. So when we have to present research findings, there are several key components which are very important. Let's see one by one what are these. This is not good. So effective presentation, effectively presenting your research findings. So the key component is it should have introduction. So introduction is brief overview of what your research topic is and what is its significance. It should include or clearly state the research problem, question, hypothesis, which is guiding your research. And the objective is, okay, am I audible now? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, and the objective is you have to outline the specific objectives or aims of your research. That is very important when you're presenting your findings in introduction. So what is important? Your research topic, the research questions, and the object. Next is methodology. What is the design of your study? What is your research approach, whether it is qualitative, quantitative, or mixed? So what are the data collection methods used? What are the sampling procedures? All what you have done. What is your research methodology? That has to be presented, right? Provide details about your sample or participants population, include demographics, recruitment methods, how you have created the sample if you have collected data yourself. So that should also be included into your presentations, right? How you have collected data, what were the questions asked, right? And if you have used existing data, provide the source of that data, right? From where you have used that data, what is the size of your data? What are the features of the data? So all those should be included. Even if you have collected your data, your own, so that sample features, attributes of the data should also be presented, right? Then what techniques were used to analyze the data? To test your research hypothesis, that should also be presented well. So it is a part of methodology itself, right? Next important thing is, so that means you have created your topic, you have implemented the methodology, now finding the results, right? So those should be also presented. Descriptive results, descriptive statistics, if applicable, should be presented based upon how you are testing your hypothesis. It can be descriptive, inferential. So based upon your domain, you have to present the results. Now, when we are presenting the results, it is very important that we present it visually, not just in the form of text. So when we present it, use charts, use graphs, use figures, use tables, right? So that it is easy to understand. In methodology also, in methodology study design also, it would be very good if you are able to provide a flow chart of your methodology, right? How your data collected or your start of research has turned into the results. So what all things were done into maybe a block diagram, and if required, maybe more like a top level block diagram, and then you can move ahead inside each block. If details are required, those should also be presented. All right, this is results. Oh, there was one more, no? Then discussions, how not just presenting results, how those results should be interpreted. So that is to be presented in your research findings. So it can be in the form of a comparative table. It can be in the form of graphs. It can be in the form of values. So that comparison should also be there, right? Then there should be discussions on or some content on your findings. What exactly have you found? What were the results? Then how you have evaluated those results, right? Not just finding the results, evaluation matrices should also be included, right? Based upon what you are saying, your results or your study is a better, or it is giving a better outcome. So those matrices should also be presented in the discussions. Don't forget to mention any limitations of your study. So usually scholars try to hide the limitations or constraints of the studies done. Try to acknowledge that. So you did some experiments, results were not good. Okay, fine, it is fine. Even Elsevier says negative results should also be published, right? So that should also be there. And then the future directions should also be included. What else can be done? So you have done till point X. Now some other methods can also be done. Maybe in data something should be included to find better results. So that can come from your limitations, right? Conclude your findings point wise. That is very important. The main findings should be summarized. Conclusions. What are the highlight your contributions? How your experiments, how your work has contributed to something, right? That should also be included. And then closing remarks. Include references. Do not forget. So usually when we present something, even we present something, people forget to mention references, right? Mention the references, include bibliography, and if some additional material or supplementary material is to be provided which support your findings or experiments, include that in appendixes. That is very important. So these 7 components shall be included in your research finding presentations, be it oral, in the form of thesis, or in the form of paper writing. Try to include all that. Okay. All right. So the next is how to interpret results and find conclusions. So very important thing is when you try to interpret results, don't just give results, okay, 70% it has improved. Connect it back to your objectives of your research or your work. It should be connected. Your whole work should come in a flow. It should not, there should be coherence between everything you are presenting, right? So when we try to interpret results, your result findings should connect back to your objectives or title or your hypothesis. It should support what you were you started with, right? Discuss your findings, how they are contributing to the existing theories or advanced knowledge in your field. What are the major contributions? Include that also. Consider practical implications of your results also. So in real world applications, what you have done, what experiments you have done, how they are going to be useful in practical scenarios. So include that also. Then evaluate your your findings in relation to your research questions. Address that also in your conclusions. That is also very important. Okay. So when we conclude, we don't write your conclusions in paragraphs. Try to highlight some important findings in points, right? That is very important. So summarize key findings, then draw logical conclusions based upon your interpretation of the results, comparisons, and then give recommendations for future research or policy or practice based upon the insights you have gained in your research, in your study. That is important. And usually that comes, okay. So usually that comes when you say, okay, my research was limited on something, we can enhance it in future using something else, right? So oral presentation is like I am what I'm presenting is an oral presentation, right? This is oral presentation. So usually in conferences, when you present your paper, I'm just giving one example. That is a oral presentation. You present your work, right? So there are some set of rules, formats, guidelines, how to present that. So you have to follow that. But right now what we are discussing is what to be included to make it more effective. Okay. So that should be there, but you have to follow the formats or the guidelines of the organizations where you are going to present. Same is with the poster presentation. So usually poster presentation is you develop a poster of sizes given, maybe 2 feet by 4 feet. There should be a poster. You get it printed and you put everything, the important things of your research into that poster, and then you hang it somewhere, and then judges come and then you present what your work is. I hope I have answered that, right? The last part is discussion section structuring. So when you try to structure your discussion section, you start with restating your research question or hypothesis, then you interpret or explain the findings, you compare your work with the existing standard works. If there is no existing standard work, use some evaluation matrices to prove that whatever work you have done is worth, that study is worth, right? Address your study limitations also. If you some of the results were not good, mention that also, because you have done your part, you have done some experimentations. So put that also into light, that okay, these were the limitations and we can overcome that into future research, right? So that can add into your future direction. Discuss implications and applications where this research is going to be helpful in real world. Maintain the logical flow and cohesion in overall presentation. Conclude and give future recommendations. There is this link I will open, and with this we will conclude also. This is a very good chapter. It is actually a book. I have shared this link. This book is about some thesis, some research work done, and see the way the author has presented the conclusions, limitations, and future research. Usually this is the last chapter in your dissertation or thesis. Now see, conclusion, very small description, and then points. What were the major accomplishments? That points. It is not a theoretical long sentences. No, be precise in your findings. Present it in the form of list or bullet points, right? And then, okay, I will talk about that also, why this is here. I will talk about that also. Then, what were the challenges to implement? When you are concluding your whole work, you have to include the challenges you faced while doing that, right? Then, limitations. If possible, put limitations also in the form of list or bullet points. What were the limitations? See, while there is a historical data pertaining to this, there is a lack of data and consistent measure of quality assurance organization. So this is one limitation. Due to the nature of the research questions, the limited use of alternative QMS in United States, the research was based on largely qualitative research method. So we are trying to tell what exactly is this. Okay. See, they have mentioned, is it possible that additional questions be identified for this research, may be developed? And then what is the research future directions for this? So they have included following areas for future research in the form of questions. You can put it in the form of questions. You can put it in the form of sentences. This is very important, right? So when you conclude, how do I cite a particular work gotten from an article? For example, the particular finding is being cited by another person. When you are citing something cited by somebody else, try to find the original. Double check whether it is correct or not. We have talked about this. Abamus. So check the original work first, whether it is saying that or not, and then cite the original work. Okay. So this is how you conclude. This is how you give a final ending to your work. Now, when you are presenting something, this is very important where most of the scholars fail. Even if you're writing chapters, it is not a part of today's discussion, but I'm just telling you this. Even if you are writing a chapter, subsection in the chapter, there should be few lines to introduce that, and there should be some lines to conclude that also. Okay, see here, this is the introduction of this conclusions itself, section 6.1. And here, this is the main body of the conclusion, major finding. And then the researcher has concluded this also. The research defines the research and responsibility of this. It also describes this. So this is very important when you write your academic writing. All right, there are some send presentation. I will share that. That is all from my side. I have included all the possible resources which I have used it in this presentation. Dr. Neha, I think I have ended it a bit early. So we are open for questions if there are any. If there are any questions, please let me know. I will. So these were the topics which we have covered today. Any questions? Okay.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yeah. Yes, please.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yeah.
I don't have a question. It's just I'm just asking for the PDF. That's the document if we can get so that we'll look into it more further.
Yeah, I will share this with Miss Neha right
Okay.
after this.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, someone has asked how best to use ChatGPT for a research guide. So, ChatGPTs can be used, yes, but something has happened. But you have to be very particular. Whatever information ChatGPT is giving you, is it correct or not? Even if you say, so ChatGPT works on prompt engineering. The way you write the prompt, it will give you answers. Okay, so that is important. So if you are writing a prompt, let's suppose what is an academic writing, it will give you something. So check back that whether it is correct or not with some resources. That is very important. All right, thank you. How do we give you conclusion to related to your objectives? So usually when we present, Nurat, when we present our writings, let's suppose I hope you are talking about your research objectives here. So when we write our thesis, you should have, according to me, you should have a dedicated chapter for each objective, right? Because for each objective, let's suppose you had 4 objectives. So for each objective, to obtain that objective in your research, you have done some experimentation. So there should be dedicated chapters. So structure may differ. In some organizations, they ask structure of thesis or dissertation writing, that chapter should have its own results and all that. But I prefer all the results at the end. So objective wise results should be presented, and when you will present results, you will automatically conclude it objective wise. You don't have to worry about it. All right.
Any
I
other
hope I have
queries?
answered. Okay.
Yes.
Again about site score, and is it comparable to impact factor? No. Impact factor is, okay, let's check that. Yeah, somebody is saying something.
Yes, ma. I said since we still have some little time, I don't know if when you made mention of poster presentations and oral presentation, you said they have some certain rules and guidelines, but you couldn't mention them. I don't know if you can shed some more light on that.
Okay, I will show you something.
Okay, thank you, ma.
Presentations in conference, right? I hope my screen is visible, right?
Yes,
Now,
ma'am.
these are some of the examples. I will show you the guidelines also from some. Oh, this is free template. I don't want this. How to present a poster in a conference. These are the guidelines. This itself is an article, but there, see, this is a general organization of a poster. Is it visible? So your poster is like a wall hanging. Think it like this, right? The size will be mentioned as per the conference or usually conference. What should be the size of that? You get it printed in the form of a flax or thick paper, and you write title, then introduction comes, then methods come, then results and conclusion, and then bibliography. So it is printed like this. Have I answered that? So let's go to some of the conference where they have asked for poster presentation. See here. So this is guidelines on how to present poster session. Entire publication. So it comes with a particular conference. They will tell what should be the size of the poster, how it should be presented. So usually it comes like that. I am not able to find something. And these are posters only. I will show you. See, this is one poster. Can you see that?
Yes, that's it.
So the title comes, abstract. So the main components will be same, but it is just that instead of a PowerPoint presentation or a written word article, you present it in the form of a poster. That poster is to be presented either in the form of a flex, 2 feet by 4 feet, or based upon the size, and then you display it at the back and you present something. It is like this. Okay.
Thank you.
Precautions while writing the expected outcomes. Expected outcomes of your okay, I will answer this. Dr. Kalpana, there is a list of UGC journals on the UGC website. You can check from that. Precautions, Milan, I will check that. Is it necessary to add future research in the article? It would give you good impact if you will add future research. Okay. Precautions while writing the expected outcomes. I consider it that we come to a stage of writing a paper after doing some experimentations. So when some of the experimentations are done, then only we start writing. So when we have, so usually by that time we know what should be our expected outcomes, right? So, and second important thing, when you do your literature review thoroughly, you will come to know what can be done in your research work. So what should be the expected outcome? I don't know whether we should use some precautions. We say why we should be very particular about writing our outcomes, expected outcomes, because if we are not able to, fulfill that, whether our dissertation will be accepted or not, I personally believe it should not be like that, because as I've said earlier also, journals like Elsevier, they have started accepting negative results as well, right? The limitations. So it won't be any problem even if you will write an expected outcome and it is not fulfilled, right? I hope I have answered that. Chemistry related Scoopers journal. So if you will find, there is a journal finder also in most of the like Springer, Wiley, Taylor and Francis, you will find a general journal finder. So what you have to do, you have to write your script, abstract keywords, and it will find related journals for you. It is a second line lecture with you on this. Oh, thank you so much, Amit. I am delighted. Grammatical language. I don't know what you want to say. Grammatically, you should check your article. before publishing anywhere. So usually in Word there is a grammatical check. Use that tool. It will be very handy. Thank you, Gang Tak Nanpun, for your compliments. I hope I have answered all of the questions. And if there are any, I would like to try to answer them as well. Otherwise, Neha ma'am, I think we can. Okay, grammatical language for expected outcomes. So usually outcomes are related to objectives. Objectives should start with, in my, according to me, it should start with to, and it should have action verbs. We will do this. So expected outcome will be, I don't know. So for example, we should take some examples. Some area. If you can tell me, Dr. Milan, your area, I would be able to give more relevant example. Fuzzy theory. Oh, you are in my field only. So fuzzy theory expected outcome would be some domain. You are doing applying some fuzzy logics in any particular domain. You are doing that. Fuzzy theory for what? Fuzzy logic and approximation theory. This is mathematics. I'm very bad in math. Okay. So Dr. Milan, let's do it like this. I am sharing my email address with you. Okay. If you will be able to send me your research title and objectives, I will help you create objectives. Will that be fine? Will that be fine? All right. Thank you. Okay, then. That
think-
is all. Yep.
I think all queries resolved now. Any other
Yep.
queries? No. Thank you, ma'am.
No.
Thank you
All
very
right.
much for the wonderful session. I think
Uh,
the presentation was received very well by our audience,
Oh,
and
thank you so much.
it will
I have
help
stopped
us a
sharing,
lot.
right?
Yes, ma'am, you can.
Yeah. I don't know. I am not sharing. Okay. Am I still sharing?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
You are
I have
sharing.
to stop sharing. So sorry.
No
Yep.
problem.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you, Dr. Puja ma'am, for your wonderful
Thank
session.
you. I was looking for seeing you.
So finally, your wait is over now.
I was thinking, how come sir is not here?
No, I was here, but I listened entire session. In between, I have to go, but before
That's okay.
ending the session, I come back.
I
Really,
have emailed everyone.
the content.
I have 1 minute, Meher sir. I have put my email in chat for everyone.
Okay,
Thank you,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, sir. All
Your
right.
department email address of Dr. Puja, today's resource person, has been shared in the chat box. You can access the same. And in future, if any kind of support and help required, you can easily contact to Dr. Puja, and I'm sure she will help you regarding your query, regarding your prompt.
I will try. You know, I'm very bad in picking calls. I will try my level best.
Thank you very much again for your wonderful session, and the session was very informative and knowledgeable for to the entire participant who are attending this session. And I hope the content will be very supportive to all the participants.
I will share right away. I will email that.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you, all the
All
participants.
right. I can leave now. Bye. Thanks, Neha.
Yes. Tomorrow again, we will meet at 1 p.m. for the next session of our FDP. Till then, have a good day and thank you, everyone.